Hare Krishna. We are in the 6th chapter of Bhagwat Gita as it is, and the name of this chapter is Dhyan Yoga, which means meditating upon the Supreme Lord, who is residing in the heart of every living entity. In today's verse, Krishna is going to teach us some more qualities or symptoms of a person who is advanced in the Dhyan Yoga. In the previous verse, we came to know that a person who is unaffected by the dualities of the material world like happiness, sorrow, gain, loss, heat, cold, honor or dishonor, and remains fixed in trance, such a person is advanced in the path of meditation. Normally, we find people are able to think and meditate on the Supreme Lord when the conditions are favorable. But when the conditions are not favorable, like when there is sorrow, loss, or extreme heat or cold, or maybe dishonor is experienced, then it becomes difficult to control the mind. The mind gets disturbed, and with the disturbed mind, meditation is not possible because meditation is an act of the mind. But one who has been able to control his mind through the initial process of Ashtanga Yoga, that is by the practice of Yam, Niyam, Asan, Pranayam and Pratyahar, and then he reaches to the advanced level which is called the Yoga Rudh stage. The preliminary stage is called Yoga Rurukshu, and the advanced level is Yoga Rudh stage. Now, how can we determine that a person is advanced in Dhyan Yoga? Because we cannot see his mind. The only way to know whether a person's mind is in his control or not is by seeing his qualities, and his qualities are the symptoms by which it can be judged that is he advanced or not. This is why Krishna is telling us some more qualities of a Yoga Rudh person, and the main purpose behind it is to guide us by the example of a person who is advanced in Dhyan Yoga, so that we may also imbibe these qualities in us. And everything is possible by the right kind of guidance and by practice. Now let us start today's verse by reciting the verse number 8 of chapter number 6. Jnana Vijnana Triptatma Kutastho Vijitendriyah Yukta Ityuchyate Yogi Samloshtrashma Kanchanaha. Jnana Vijnana Triptatma Kutastho Vijitendriyah Yukta It Uchyate Yogi Samloshtrashma Kanchana. Jnana Vijnana Triptatma Kutastho Vijitendriyah Yukta It Uchyate Yogi Samloshtrashma Kanchana. Krishna says that a person is said to be established in self-realization and is called a yogi or a mystic when he is fully satisfied by virtue of acquired knowledge and realization. Such a person is situated in transcendence and is self-controlled. He sees everything, whether it is pebbles, stones, or gold, as the same. Now let us start reading the Anvay given by Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur ki Jai. Gyan Vigyan. Through transcendental knowledge and its realization. Trapta, who is satisfied. Atma, the soul. Kutastha, situated on the summit, which means whose consciousness is unaffected by material transformation. Vijit Indriyaha, who has conquered the senses. Yuktaha, a person who has attained the pinnacle of yoga. Iti thus. Uchyate is said to be yogi, a yogi. Some looks equally. Losht asma kanchana, on sand, stone and gold. Gyan vigyan triptatma kutastho vijitendriyaha, a person whose mind is satisfied by both knowledge, that is gyan, and realization, that is vigyan, whose consciousness is unaffected by material transformation and who has conquered the senses. Yukt it uchyate yogi samlosht ashma kanchana, and who looks equally upon sand, stone and gold, is said to have attained the perfection of yoga. Yukt it uchyate yogi. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says that those whose hearts have become free from hankerings and who are satisfied due to having both knowledge and direct realization of this knowledge, which is known as Gyan and Vigyan, they become Kutastha. In other words, they are always situated in the true nature of their selves and remain detached from all the mundane objects. True nature of the self means they know that they are a part and parcel of the Supreme Lord and they are eternal servant of the Supreme Lord. For them, a grain of sand, gold, or stone, or anything else are all the same. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is giving us the definition of Kutastha. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says, Kal Vyapi Sa Kutastha Ek Rupatayah Tuyah, one who is not disturbed by his senses and eternally remains situated in his own Swarup is called Kutastha. Kal Vyapi Sa Kutastha Ek Ruptaya Tuyah, one who is not disturbed by the senses and eternally remains situated in his own Swarup, in his own identity, the real identity, is called Kutastha. In today's verse, we have come to know about Gyan and Vigyan. Now let us understand the real meaning of Gyan and Vigyan. Gyan here does not mean the material knowledge of this world. Gyan here means the knowledge of the Supreme Lord, Sat Chit Anand. Sat means eternal, Chit means full of knowledge, and Anand means full of bliss. Our acharyas say that it's only Krishna who is eternal and only Krishna knows about everyone's past, present and future in the entire 84 lakhs of species. And when a person is eternal and full of knowledge, then he is the only one who is eternally blissful. So when a person has this knowledge that Krishna is the ultimate proprietor, controller, and is dwelling in everyone's heart as Paramatma, and he is the ultimate well-wisher of everyone, and that every living entity is his part and parcel. Having this knowledge plus knowing that I am an eternal servant of Krishna and the material world is the external energy of Krishna makes the knowledge complete. Anyone who has this knowledge is to be known as the knower of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And when one is the knower of the Supreme Personality of knowledge or the spiritual knowledge, and has the realization also, which means that he can practically feel the presence of the Lord in everyone's heart as Paramatma, and he respects everyone, then it is Vigyan, that is science. Knowing the theory and practically applying it and experiencing the presence of Krishna in everyone and in everything, then it is called having perfection in spiritual science. This we can understand from this very simple example. When we watch a cooking show and we learn the different ingredients, methods of cooking, it means that we are taking the knowledge. And when we try cooking it, then we experience it, which is called science. The practical experience of the knowledge is called science. It is the same as children learn theory in classroom and experience it by doing it practically in the lab, then it becomes science. Similarly, when people have the knowledge of the Supreme God and they have the knowledge that they are the part and parcel of the Supreme Lord, and the Supreme Lord is everywhere in the form of earth, sky, air, fire and water, and simultaneously he resides in everyone's heart as Paramatma. This way he sees everything alike, whether it is sand, stone or gold. For him everything belongs to Krishna. This spiritual realization gives him complete satisfaction and he is completely undisturbed in all situations. Thus he is a yogi. This is the quality of a person who is yoga roor, which means that his mind is in perfect control and nothing affects him or stops him in his sadhana. He has attained the perfection of yoga by conquering his senses. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur ki Jai. Now, after reading the Anvay of Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, now let us read the purport given by Srila Prabhupada. Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Anant Koti Vaishnavo ki Jai. All glories to the six Goswamis. Srila Prabhupada is going to explain to us that how can we attain the stage where a person sees no difference between sand, pebble or gold. Normally in this material world, we have different values for different things, and this is why there is so much of dissatisfaction and unrest. But by the mercy of Srila Prabhupada, we will have the understanding of sameness in all the things like sand, pebble or gold. Now let us start reading the purport given by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada in his translation says that a person is said to be established in self-realization and is called a yogi or a mystic when he is fully satisfied by the virtue of acquired knowledge and realization. And such a person is situated in transcendence and is in self-control. He sees everything, whether it is pebbles, stones or gold, as the same. Prabhupada further says that book knowledge without realization of the supreme truth is useless. Prabhupada in his purport he is saying that the bookish knowledge without realization of the supreme truth means the truth of the Supreme Lord, is actually useless. And for this, Srila Prabhupada has quoted a verse from Padma Puran. Atah Shri Krishna Namadi na bhaved grahyam indriyeh sevon mukhehi jihvadau swayam ev swarit adaha. Prabhupada says that Padma Puran verse, it clearly says that no one can understand the transcendental nature of the name, form, quality and the pastimes of Sri Krishna through his materially contaminated senses. Only when one person becomes spiritually saturated by transcendental service to the Lord are the transcendental name, form, quality, and pastimes of the Lord revealed to him. So it's very clearly said that nobody can understand through the materially contaminated senses the name, form, quality, and pastimes of Sri Krishna. Only the people who engage themselves in the loving service of the Lord, they can understand the name, form, quality, and pastimes, because the Lord reveals himself to only those who serve him lovingly. Now let us try to understand every word of Srila Prabhupada. Prabhupada says that the book knowledge without realization of the supreme truth is useless. So it clearly means that the main objective of gaining knowledge from the books is to have the realization of the supreme truth. And gaining the realization of the Supreme Lord cannot happen without loving service at the lotus feet of Sri Krishna. This is what has been stated in Padma Puran, which means that between knowledge and realization lies the service, the loving service to the Lord. Then only one can have realization. One can have spiritual realization. Srila Prabhupada gives a beautiful example to explain this point. Prabhupada says that no matter how much it is explained about a rasgulla, that it is round in shape, white in color, very soft and spongy, filled with sweet juice. If a person is made to eat a rasgulla, then he will immediately realize that what is a rasgulla, what it is shape, color, texture and taste. Prabhupada is giving this example just to let us know that between knowledge and realization there lies the loving service. And hereby giving us the example of rasgulla, that if it is explained to a person, how does it look like, how does it taste, it's easy to make that person eat rasgulla so that he can easily understand what rasgulla is actually. Similarly, till the time one does not serve Krishna lovingly, he will not be able to experience the happiness of serving Krishna. And the best service to Krishna in this Kali Yuga is to chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, which is prescribed in our scriptures. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is himself the Supreme Personality of Godhead, came to give us. Srila Prabhupada says that in Kali Santaran Upanishad it is stated, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, iti Shodakshakam Namnam Kali Kalmash Nashanam Natah Partaropayah Sarv Vedeshu Drishyate. It means that after going through the deep study of all the Vedic literatures, it has been concluded that the only way to liberate the conditioned souls from this material world is to chant the holy name of Sri Krishna, which is given to us by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is Krishna himself. And when one chants the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, then automatically the person is able to realize the name, form, qualities of Supreme Krishna. And this has been proved by the example of Hanumanji, who made the bridge merely by writing the name of Ramji on the stones, and the big stones started floating on the ocean. This is the power of the name of Ramji. Further, Srila Prabhupada says that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says that the chanting of the holy name of Krishna is the only way to elevate a person to the spiritual platform from his present condition, which is contaminated in this material world. This is stated in the science of self-realization by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is Krishna himself and had appeared as a devotee of the Supreme Lord to teach us how to serve Krishna. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is both Radha and Krishna in the form of a devotee. The entire sum and substance of the term Gyan, Vigyan, Tripta is to make us understand that till a person has tasted the mellow of the devotional service, he will not be satisfied. Only bookish knowledge of the scriptures is like dry speculation or mental contemplation. But when a person starts chanting the holy name of Krishna, then he realizes that he is a part of Krishna and he has nothing to do with this material world. And then he has the conviction to serve Krishna all the time because he has realized that his true identity is Nitya Krishna Das, that is, eternal servant of Krishna. This is the most important realization that we need to have, that we are a part of Krishna and we have nothing to do with this material world because we are spirit soul. Then only we have the conviction to serve Krishna all the time, because without having this true identity that I am Nitya Krishna Das, nobody wishes to serve Krishna, though we are always serving the material world of Krishna, which is the Maya Shakti, because our true identity is Nitya Krishna Das. So definitely we will serve, but because of ignorance, we are serving Maya and we are not serving Krishna, though we are Nitya Krishna Das. This is the realization that one gets after chanting Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. Now I am very sure that we have properly understood the meaning of Gyan, Vigyan, Triptatma, Kutastho Vijitendriyaha. It means that a person who is fixed in self-realization and is called a yogi when he is fully satisfied by the virtue of acquired knowledge and realization. Such a person is called Kutastha because he is not disturbed by his senses and he eternally remains fixed in his own real identity, that he is a real eternal servant of the Lord because he is a part and parcel of Krishna. Prabhupada says that only this person sees everything in this material world as same. There is no difference for him, be it sand, stone or gold. In simple words, it means that nothing can deviate him from his devotional path. Srila Prabhupada says that Bhagwat Gita is the science of Krishna consciousness. Now, whenever we hear the word science, we must understand that it is the practical experience of the theory. So, science of Krishna consciousness means understanding the name, form, quality and pastimes of Sri Krishna by the process of devotion. And the first step of devotion begins with the chanting of Mahamantra. Cleans and purifies the heart of all the material contaminations. Material contaminations means having desire to enjoy this material world. And all the desires are in the mind. And these desires cannot be removed only by acquiring knowledge from the scriptures, which is why the process of chanting is so important. Prabhupada says that the process of chanting is the real meditation. And for this, one has to be really fortunate to have the association of a true devotee who has pure consciousness and is full-time absorbed in serving the Supreme Lord. Prabhupada further says that this stage is attained only by the mercy of the Lord, and one attracts the mercy of the Lord only by serving the Lord and his pure devotees. Prabhupada says that there is no other way to conquer the Supreme Lord. He says that Krishna has himself said in the 10th verse of the 10th chapter, Isham satata yuktanam jatam priti purvakam dadami buddhi yogam tam yena mam upayanti te. Krishna says that those who are constantly devoted to me and worship me with love, I give them understanding by which they can come to me. So we see that it's very clear that Krishna consciousness can be realized only by the mercy of the Lord, and the mercy of the Lord can be got by the persons who are constantly devoted to the Lord, and such a person is always satisfied in his devotional activities. Prabhupada further says that by engaging in devotional activities, one can remain steady in his conviction and does not get distracted, deluded, confused, or deviated. But by merely acquiring the academic knowledge, one may get easily deluded and deviated. So it's very important to engage in the devotional service, and devotional path is the easiest to be done. One has to only chant loudly the Hare Krishna Mahamantra and listen to every word of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Eat only Krishna Prasadam, and if one can do such simple things, then automatically one becomes satisfied because all the senses are in perfect control. Prabhupada says that it is only the realized soul who is actually self-controlled because he is surrendered to Krishna. And Krishna has said in Bhagwat Gita, chapter number 18, verse number 55, that he reveals himself only to one who is his devotee and has surrendered to him. Bhaktya mam abhijanati yavansh chasmi tatvatah tato mam tatvato gyatva vishate tadanantaram. Krishna says that one can understand the Supreme Personality only by the devotional service, and when one is in full consciousness of the Supreme Lord by such devotion, then he can enter into the kingdom of. Once again, it is made clear to us that only by the process of the devotional practice one can know, understand, and enter the kingdom of God. And when a person is sincerely devoted to the Krishna conscious activities, then he has nothing to do with the mundane scholarship. For him, mundane scholarship and mental speculation, which may be as good as gold to the so-called scholarly people in this material world, but for him, for a devotee, it is of no greater value than pebbles or stones. Mundane education and mental speculation means trying to acquire knowledge merely by reading the scriptures and not understanding the scriptures under the proper guidance of a bona fide spiritual master. This is why these scholars always have doubts, confusions, and they find contradictions in the scriptures and are unable to have spiritual realizations. But a person who follows the guidance as given by Krishna himself, he will surely have the spiritual realization, which is explained by the term Gyan Vigyan. And then he is Kutastha and Jitendriya. Kutastha means firmly situated in his Swarup, which means that he firmly knows that he is spirit soul and an eternal servant of Krishna. And his all senses are in control, which means that he is Jitendriya. Srila Prabhupada says that Krishna has given to us clear instructions that how one must take the spiritual knowledge. For this, in chapter number 4, verse number 1, Krishna has said that he has given the divine knowledge of Bhagwat Gita firstly to Vivasvan, who is the sun god. Then the sun god Vivasvan gave it to his son Manu, who is the father of all the human species. And then Manu, in return, gave the same knowledge to Ikshvaku, in whose dynasty Lord Ram appeared. So it's very clear instruction to us that how we need to take the knowledge of Bhagavad Gita. In chapter number 4, the first verse says, Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Imam Vivasvate Yogam Proktavanam Avyayam Vivasvanam Manave Praha Munir Ikshvakve Abravit. Then, in the second verse of the 4th chapter, Krishna said that this divine knowledge lost its purity, so he has come again to give the same knowledge which was given to Vivasvan. Evam parampara praptam imam rajarshayo viduhu sakale neha mahata yogo nashtah parantapa. Krishna said that the supreme science was received through the chain of disciplic succession, and the saintly kings understood in that way. But in due course of time, the succession was broken, and therefore the science as it is appears to be lost. After hearing this from Krishna, Arjun had a doubt in his mind. He felt that how is it possible that Krishna gave the same knowledge of Bhagavad Gita to Vivasvan, because Krishna is of his same age, and how can he give the same knowledge to Vivasvan, the sun god? To remove the doubts from Arjun's mind, Krishna said, Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Bahuni me vyatayitani janmani tavcha Arjuna Tanya aham ved sarvani natvam vet parantapa. Krishna said that many births both you and I have passed. I can remember all of them. But O Arjun, O subduer of enemies, you cannot remember them. By these verses, it is very clear that the Supreme Lord Himself came to give the divine knowledge, so that we take the knowledge in a right way and in a pure way. And that way is to surrender to a bona fide spiritual master and obey the orders of the spiritual master. And for us, Srila Prabhupada has instructed us to chant loudly, clearly, and listen every word of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra and chant every day at least 16 rounds. And along with it, when we have Krishna Prasadam, then Krishna becomes very merciful and he gives us the required understanding by which we can have spiritual realization. And once a person has spiritual realization, then the so-called gold, sand or pebbles are all the same for him. Srila Prabhupada tells us a beautiful story from Bhagwatam to explain this fact, that how sand, pebble and gold can become same for a person who is completely devoted to the Supreme Lord Krishna. Prabhupada says that once there was a devotee of Lord Shiva who did many austerities, penances to please Lord Shiva. Lord Shiva became very happy with his austerities and appeared in front of him and told him to ask for a boon. The devotee of the Lord Shiva became very happy to see his Lord in front of him, and then he humbly asked for a touchstone which would turn everything into gold. Lord Shiva told the man to go to Vrindavan, to Sanatan Goswami, and ask for the touchstone from him. The devotee did the same as asked by Lord Shiva. After reaching to Vrindavan, he looked for Sanatan Goswami and found Sanatan Goswami sitting on the banks of Yamuna river. He went to Sanatan Goswami, bowed down his head, did Dandavat Pranam and very humbly requested him to give the touchstone. Sanatan Goswami pointed at a heap of useless things and told him to take the touchstone from there. The man became very happy and took out the touchstone from the heap of garbage. When he reached his home and narrated the whole incident to his wife, then she said that how is it possible that such a precious stone was lying amidst garbage? She told her husband to go to Sanatan Goswami ji again and ask for the real touchstone. The man came to Sanatan Goswami and requested him to give the real touchstone. At this point, Sanatan Goswami told him to throw the touchstone in Yamuna river. He did the same and came and sat in front of Sanatan Goswami with folded hands. Sanatan Goswami gave the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, which will transport him from this temporary material world to the spiritual world, where there is no birth, death, old age, and disease, and the living entity lives in the spiritual world eternally in his spiritual body. This is the power of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, and anyone who starts chanting the Mahamantra gradually has self-realization, and then for such a person, gold, dust, or stone is all the same. To sum up today's verse, let us remember that we have come to know about 3 qualities of a person who is advanced in Dhyan Yoga or meditation. And the 3 qualities are that he has experienced and is satisfied in Gyan Vigyan. Then he is Kutastha, that is, he is fixed up in his Swarup. He knows that he is the eternal servant of the Supreme Lord, and he has controlled all his senses, that is, he has become Vijit Indriya. The main aim of Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, Dhyan Yoga, and Bhakti Yoga is to control the mind. In Karma Yoga, mind is controlled by employing all the senses and doing all the work in accordance with the scriptures. In Jnana Yoga, the senses and mind is employed to take the knowledge of the Supreme Lord and about the material world and the living entities and the temporary nature of everything. In Dhyan Yoga, the mind is controlled by engaging it to see the Paramatma who is residing in every living entity's heart. And the topmost yoga is Bhakti Yoga, where a person engages all his senses, mind, intelligence to please Krishna. Thus he is completely satisfied and his senses are automatically controlled. So the sole aim of all the yoga process is to control the uncontrolled mind. Now in the next verse, we will get to know about some more qualities of a person who is advanced in the Yoga Rur stage, or we can say advanced in Dhyan Yoga. I thank Srila Prabhupada, I thank Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur and my Shiksha Guru, His Grace Harimohan Das Prabhuji, for explaining to us the most secretive knowledge of Bhagwat Gita. I thank you for listening to the words of Krishna so patiently and attentively. Please keep chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra and do share this video with as many people possible. Watch the video again and again because it's for us. We need to control our mind. Only with the controlled mind we can see Krishna, we can realize Krishna, we can realize His form, His pastimes, and Krishna's qualities. And once we start realizing the form, name, pastimes, and qualities of Krishna, then we really become Krishna conscious. And by becoming Krishna conscious, we attain the highest perfection of life. So please keep chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra and be happy. Please do write your realizations in the comment box. In case you have any questions, please do write. I shall definitely try to answer your questions with the mercy of Srila Prabhupada. Now we shall meet next week. Till then, keep chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra and be happy. Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Anant Koti Vaishnavon ki jai. Hare Krishna.